In Kenya, refugees in one of the world's biggest camps have taken up the fight against plastic waste. Refugees at Dadaab are not only keeping the environment clean, but also earning an income from their efforts. Chao Mghono has more.
More than 200,000 refugees living here depend on aid, much of it packed in plastic. As a result, plastic pollution is a huge issue at the Dadaab camp. A group of 8 refugees is trying to solve the problem. They're recycling tons of plastic waste and generating around $1,580 in revenue.
So this is our final product for sale for the PET bottles. So this is one single bell. It's about 150 to 100 kgs.
We are refugees and we don't have any money. So we continue our work. That's why we continue our work.
The Dadaab Recycling Project was set up by the Kenya Red Cross Society just over a year ago. Experts say it will be a model for other camps across East Africa.
If we engaged the refugee community and the host community, who are the biggest generators of the waste, then it would be an income generating activity for the population, as well as a form of environmental protection.
A 2015 study by the Red Cross found that 270,000 jerrycans are discarded in Dadaab each year. Chao Mghono, CGTN.
So exactly why is this day significant? Well, let's get to hear about that from Dr. Richard Munang. He's the Environment and Regional Climate Change Coordinator at the UN Environment Programme. Dr. Munang, thank you for joining us on Africa Live. Now, environmental conservation is very much a part of everyday life now for many people. So exactly what is the significance of the World Environment Day?
Yeah, thank you very much, Beatrice, for having me in studio. Today, 5th of June, being the World Environment Day, have a theme called Beat Plastic Pollution. The environmental challenges plaguing the world today are visible, and one of these is the plastic pollution, because as we're speaking now, every minute, the world is seeing 1 million plastic cups being purchased by humans, and 500 billion plastic bags are actually every year being purchased, and this gets into the environment without actually having to be recycled. And what is happening is that 13 million tons of plastics actually get into the oceans, affecting marine and aquatic life, which is not only inflicting pain in the environment, but at the same time also having an economic cost as well as financial. So this day is about advocacy, but not just about advocacy, but showing that environment can be a socio-economic solution to the challenges that are facing the world today.
So showing that the environment can be, a source of good for the world here, but for a viewer who's watching, let's say in Cairo or in Lagos or in South Africa, what would be the one single concrete benefit for them for a day like this?
The food that we depend on, how it is processed, how it is packaged, and how it is stored. Actually, what the scientific evidence is telling us is that within these processes using plastic materials, what is happening is 4,000 substances, with one of the dangerous substance called carcinogen, which is responsible for the cause of cancer, is found in these. And also what is happening is fishery, which we depend on not just for nutrients. 80 kilograms of fish that is being caught nowadays have 20 kilograms of plastics in this fish. And when you dovetail this down to Kenya here, where 12% of the gross domestic product is dependent on tourism. And one of the touristic attractions is the dolphins. It's already today suffering as a result of plastic littering the oceans. So when you put this in perspective, what is beneficial to the citizens is that environment, right, especially plastic pollution, is not just an issue of the environment. It is a health issue, and it is an economic issue as well as a national security issue, because as we're speaking, the world in African continent today, more than 200 million youths are unemployed. How can we look for alternatives that can replace the plastic to be able to create the jobs for the youth? Is actually an opportunity that can be seized as a result of addressing this bit plastic pollution.
So this year's theme is on plastic pollution, and we know there are some countries that have taken measures to end this plastic menace? And one of them is Kenya, which put in place a ban on things plastic. But which African countries are getting it right, and how are they getting it right?
Well, there are a couple of African countries that are getting it right, but let's put it in perspective. Plastic pollution in the Atlantic Ocean will affect the health of a Kenyan as well as the health of a Tanzanian, a Cameroonian, or a Togolese, or a Ghanaian. So it is not just a matter of getting it right or wrong, but it is a matter of winning for each and everyone. When you look at Rwanda, Rwanda actually instituting plastic ban is not only seeing its revenues every year increase up to about $306 million US. That's an economic opportunity by moving away from the plastic ban. When you look at Kenya, it provides an opportunity not only to move away from the plastic ban, but also to actually get innovative. You look at Lake Victoria today, having 10,000 hectares of water hyacinths. That could be turned to make bags, moving away from plastic ban, and that could create opportunities and especially jobs for the youth. Biodegradable is also an opportunity. And when you put it in perspective, environment as a solution to socio-economic challenges is visible with what is already happening.
Right, but so some measures have been put in place and some positives are beginning to be seen though. But what are some of the challenges when it comes to environmental protection, and what measures can be taken to protect it further?
Whenever environment and economics clash, the latter always take precedence. And what needs to be done is that what is good for environment is good for business. And sustainability, especially from an economic perspective, is only as a result of a sustainable environmental protection or management. And so when you put this in perspective and dovetail this down to what the UN Environment is doing, starting from a policy perspective during the UN Environment Assembly, which took place in December last year, there was a resolution to be able to ban plastic pollution. And as a result of that, there has been what is called the Clean Seas campaign, which is not only happening across the world, but has actually rejuvenated and energized and inspired communities, government, and individual citizens, and up to about 76,000 people have been engaged in this. But when you dovetail this down to the African continent, the continent is losing $400 billion US every year as a result of plastic pollution. And when you put that in the perspective of what is already happening, the UN Environment here in Kenya is working with the Nairobi Dam City Council to Nairobi Dam has been littered with plastic, but alternatives do exist where you can be able to incentivize people to be able to restore this dam. And what it's doing is the restoration of this riparian reserve is taking away the pressure from people depending on plastics, and has actually created a recreational area where they're utilizing greenhouse gases to produce.
Right.
They're going to utilize biodegradable to package what they produce and actually turn human waste into biogas. So alternatives to be able to green the entire agro-value chain, which fit into the big four of Kenya here, it's what could also be replicated across the entire continent. So the solutions do exist, and environment as a solution is applicable.
All that is applicable. Dr. Mghono, we'll leave it there for the moment, but thank you very much for your insights here on the World Environment Day.